It's there! Holy moly, this one's going to go big.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Sort of. This is not going to be a new channel insofar as I don't envisage putting a huge amount of new content up on here. This channel is going to be a way to re-upload over time all of the Fruit Machine emulation stuff from the previous channel. The old channel has been gone now for 3 months, so I have had a little bit of a time away from, content creation after doing it non-stop for 4 years, in a time which I made well over 400 videos, split fairly equally between online slot stuff and Fruit Machine emulation stuff. My goal here is to make the Fruit Machine emulation stuff available again. I don't want the online slot stuff online for various reasons. Those of you who are members over at Desert Island Fruits, and if you've read the thread over there, you will be aware broadly of the reasons why I shut the old channel down. And it was, amongst other things, it was the online slots videos that were in some ways causing me the most strife. So I don't actually have any particular desire to bring those back. But I do want to get the vast majority of the Fruit Machine emulation stuff back online over time. Some stuff won't be going back online. The obvious one there will be the Gambling Low Ebb series. Again, I've explained that over at Desert Island Fruits. I'm not going to rehash it here. That thread is there if you want to go and find it. However, what I have done over the last 3 months is just reviewed a handful of videos from the old channel, Fruit Machine emulation stuff that is, and by and large I've found myself thinking, you know what, this can just go back up as is. Some of them can actually be tidied up. Some of them I thought, you know what, you could tidy up the edit on this. So the ones that I've reviewed, like I say, it's only a handful of them, but one or two things really. Either this can just go back up as is, or you can actually tidy this up. As part of this process, you can tidy up and have a little bit of a re-edit before you re-upload it. Because one of the things that I want to do anyway is any video that gets re-uploaded, I will do a full review of in terms of content, because there may be some stuff that I want to snip out as part of that re-editing. Again, explained over at Desert Island Fruit. So there may be some small sections that I want to remove before I re-upload them. As part of that, the benefit of that is it means that all the videos will be time coded. I only started time coding in the last 12 to 18 months of the channel's life, and it does help, I think, if you've got time codes. Certainly when I'm watching a video on YouTube made by somebody else, I always appreciate it if there's time codes on there. So everything that gets re-uploaded, I'll basically do another run through the editing process, and as part of that I'll be able to do the time codes, and it will also give me the opportunity to snip anything out that I want to for content reasons, or editing just for tidying up and improving the video reasons. And in total, there are over 200 videos to get back up. Like I say, over 400 videos in total. About half of those were Fruit Machine emulation stuff and related things, the skill with prizes videos, that kind of thing. So in total, that there are over 200 videos that I want to get back through and get re-uploaded and kind of make available just as an archive for people to watch as they want. Because one of the things that I didn't really realise is the thing, when I shut the old channel down, for what I consider to be good reasons, and necessary reasons. It was an action that I felt I needed to take, but what I hadn't perhaps quite appreciated was that the channel actually meant quite a bit to quite a few people. I've had lots of comments privately and publicly over at Desert Island Fruits, over at Casino Meister, Facebook messages, people who've got me on WhatsApp. I mean, there was even one guy who managed to track me down, not actually knowing anything about me, particularly in real life, who actually managed to track me down on Facebook and send me a message just to ask if I was okay. There was nothing sinister about it, but, out of genuine concern, which was, really quite touching. But also kind of underscored in a way that the old channel perhaps had too much of me out there. So I do want to kind of right that wrong, as it were, for the people who do miss the videos and do want the opportunity to maybe watch them again. That was another comment that I had, far more than I'd expected, where people were saying, oh, that's a shame because, you know, there was this video or a couple of videos that I'd watched multiple times, that sort of thing. And if there's nothing that prevents that video from being online, then I don't see any reason for me not to make it available online. So that is in the main what this channel is going to be. It will take some time to get through it, but obviously I don't have to make the videos again. I just need to give them another kind of blast through Vegas Movie Studio, get the time codes, make any changes that I want or need to make, and then re-upload it. So it will take some time to get through them all, but my goal, my hope is to get through all of, or pretty much all of, the Fruit Machine emulation content from the old channel and have that available online, and do the odd new video going forward. Certainly Arcade Simulator, John Parker's Arcade Simulator, which he is still working on. That would be something that I'd want to make a new video about. Maybe if there's a machine release, that, you know, a kind of Sinbad moment where a machine really takes my eye because I've got very strong and vivid memories of it. Or even something like these two that we've got in front of us here. Obviously, there was a video of Omega on the old channel. That's one that I'll be probably near the top of the list. I'll be making the video about Omega available again in fairly short order. But since then, and since the old channel closed down, we've had a DX of that released by Woodsy. There's also this great old BFM Scorpion 1 machine called Galaxy, released by a guy, I'm sorry, but I can't, I'll drag it down. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that guy there has released a DX of Galaxy over at Desert Island Fruit. So there'll maybe be something like that that just jumps out at me and I want to make a video for, a new video. But either way, whether it's a new video or an upload of an old video, what I'm going to be doing is creating a thread per video over at Desert Island Fruit in this folder here. It's just straight off the main forums page. You go forums, you go FME video showcase, and what I'll be doing is creating a thread in there for each video. Like I say, be it a re-upload or a new video. This leads into the other point, is that on this channel I am going to be disabling comments. Now, this is something that I've given a fair amount of thought to. It's not a decision that I've made lightly, but on balance, I think it's something that I need to do for my own sanity to an extent, even though it does feel kind of harsh and unfair to the vast majority of people on the old channel who left positive comments, supportive comments, interesting comments, and so on. But it was really getting to the point where managing the comments and responding to all the comments was becoming untenable for me. That I went through a phase on the channel where I was really, really bad replying to comments. I kind of didn't really bother because it was kind of the investment of time that it required. But for the last year or so, possibly a bit longer than that actually, I made a genuine effort to reply to every single comment that was left on videos. And it was a time-consuming process because, here's the thing, making the videos themselves was a fairly long-winded process. To give you an example, even one of the simpler videos, by the time that I'd done the whole thing, would probably take something in the region of about 10 hours. I mean, to give you an idea, one of the last videos on the old channel, yep, here we go. This one, the cash attack video. Now, for that one, it was finding out what the method was, getting hold of the right ROMs, getting them into the layout, sorting out, getting my head around the method, getting the machine into the right state so that I had a RAM file where the method would work, doing a couple of test runs so that I could be sure that it would behave itself on video, getting the recording done, then turning that into an edit, getting all the time codes done, getting the thumbnail done, getting it uploaded, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing, even for what I would say was a fairly straightforward video, in the grand scheme of things, was for total effort, was probably pushing somewhere between 8 and 10 hours, something like that. So in excess of a working day. And that was one of the simpler ones. If you go for something like, say, Psycho Cash Beast Club, I spent the better part of a weekend getting my head around that and really sort of trying to understand the setups and understanding how to do it. The Perfect Deal, that was another one where I spent the better part of a weekend learning that method and getting to the point where I could demonstrate it competently on video. So there really can be quite a lot of effort involved in these, and I'm not complaining, I'm not moaning. At the end of the year, this was all stuff that I did of my own free will, but there was a kind of an element to a point of once I got the video made and uploaded, there was an element of me, frankly, that wanted to leave it behind and be able to move on to the next one. But I did feel that it was the courteous thing to do to respond to people who were leaving comments. And in fairness, like I say, the vast majority of people who were leaving comments were supportive. They said, yeah, great video, thanks, I enjoyed it, and, you know, sharing their own memories and that kind of thing. So I've got no moans in that regard either. However, the problem with YouTube comments is that they're a really, really bad way to have a conversation. One that springs to mind, again, one of the later videos on the channel, was the video that I made about JPM's hot dogs and Fairground. And amongst the comments for that, there were 3 separate people who basically made the same comment, which was, this was a rare machine. And it only ever turned up in Quicksilvers. I only remember seeing this in Quicksilvers. So I then replied to these 3 people saying, oh yeah, that's interesting, you know, any kind of more information sort of thing. And I ended up having 3 separate conversations about the same thing. And it occurred to me, and it has occurred to me on many, many occasions, that in that kind of situation, it would be far better if these people were all talking in the same thread to each other, rather than me trying to carry on the same conversation with 3 different people about the same thing. I have always thought this, not just about on my own channel, but in general, whereby it is just a horrible way to try and hold a conversation is in YouTube comments. But then there were other comments which were causing far more of a problem. There was one video, oh God, it was probably in the last couple of months of the channel's life, whereby someone decided to use the comments on my videos to make a personal attack on somebody using their name. I got up in the morning, I work from home now, so what I was supposed to be doing was getting logged in and starting work, and instead I had messages and emails saying, someone's been using your videos to talk shit about a real person using their real name. So then, instead of starting work for the day, I then have to clean up this shit that people have left on several of my videos. This poor guy's going spare about these personal attacks that are being made against him. And I'm thinking, why am I doing this at 7:20 in the morning when I should be sort of getting logged in and getting ready to start work? This is not fun. This is not enjoyable. There was other things like that. There were threats of physical violence. There were various threats made of various descriptions. There were some attempts to get my accounts hacked. That came out of one of the online slots videos, by the way. Just some stuff that crossed the line for me that I didn't really want to come out of just running a kind of hobbyist channel on YouTube. So there was the darker side of things, but even when everything was going well, as it were, it had got to the point where, like the Alien video, I think that attracted something like 80 comments, and I set myself a task of replying to all of those comments. And it was on a Saturday evening, and I sort of actually sat myself down in front of my computer to do channel admin, and I'd set aside 2 hours on a Sunday evening to reply to comments on one of my videos. And like I say, and on the one hand, I'm sort of grateful to the people who were taking the time to leave the comments, but if I could just ask you, please, Ed, to sort of look at it from my point of view, which is, if you've just left one comment, you would, think it would be reasonable for the sort of the person who made the video to drop a reply to you. But from my side, If I've got 80 people who've left comments, that's 80 conversations I then need to start to try and extend that courtesy to every person who's left a comment. And if you add all that up together, I'm at the point now where I don't want any of the nasty, horrible shit. I just can't be arsed dealing with it again. I don't want to be clearing up people, comments where people have just used the comments on my video to start launching personal attacks on other people. It wasn't just that example that I cited to you there. There have been quite a few of them over the life of the channel. That stuff gets really tiresome. And I just genuinely think for those of us who actually, and I am happy to engage in conversation, don't get me wrong, and I will be happy to do it over at Desert Island Fruits in a thread here, but to use that hot dogs example again, where 3 people made the same point about them only ever seeing hot dogs in Quicksilver, we could have a better conversation about that in a forum thread, because if those 3 people were in that thread, they would all be seeing the same information, and that's how you start to have a conversation, whereas there wasn't really anything that I could add to that because I didn't have any memory of seeing those machines in Quicksilvers or not. So it's a bit of a long-winded explanation, but I hope that covers why comments will be disabled. I really did make a big push over the years to sort of get people over to Desert Island Fruit. Say, look, if you're interested in Fruit Machine emulation, if you're interested in this stuff, please do sign up at Desert Island Fruits or one of the other Fruit Machine emulation sites. And in fairness, quite a few people did do that. There have been many, many new members over at Desert Island Fruits over the life span of the old channel who did indeed sign up at Desert Island Fruits and now are part of the community over there. Obviously, you don't have to do that. It's entirely up to you whether or not you do that, but the comments will be disabled on this channel on all videos. What I will do is simply put a link to the relevant thread in this forum over at Desert Island Fruits, and I will be more than happy to chat to people about the machines over there. So there we are. I think that about covers it, but I do just want to manage expectations right from the start that this channel will, in the main, be re-uploads of videos from the old channel, from the later ones that I re-upload. The Omega one springs to mind. That can just kind of go back up as it already was. There will be the odd new video, like I say, arcade simulator updates, machines that really jump out at me. But having been away from it for 3 months now, having taken a 3-month break from 4 years of making videos, and like I say, well over 400 videos on the old channel, now that I have stepped back from it for a little while, I'm not, if I'm completely honest with you, I don't think that's something that I'm going to get back into spending that much time on again. I mean, at a conservative estimate, there was probably something in the region of, 2,500 hours of effort that had gone into the old channel. Could be more than that, to be honest with you. I'm not sorry that I did it. It was good to get a Fruit Machine emulation channel out there on the internet and make a modest success of it. I mean, I think we had 2,300 odd subscribers by the end. But if you added up all the views that the channel had received, it was pushing up towards about 1 million views. Now, admittedly, there were a couple of outliers on that had done a lot of the heavy lifting, like that bloody Rothstein fake money streamer thing that I did about the online slot streamer. That had done like about 180,000 views all by itself. So there were a couple that had done some of the really heavy lifting. But in total, it was the better part of 1 million views across the 400 plus videos. So I'm glad I made it. I'm glad I did it. But I'm not entirely sure I'll be doing it again. But there are the archives to go through, get those back online, available for people to watch. And one other thing that I will say is, and I never did this on the old channel because I'm sure you all know this already about, liking, subscribing and dinging the bell. How many fucking times have you heard that? I never said that on the old channel because it's just like everyone knows it anyway. But just as more as a public service announcement here, because over the course of the life of the old channel, I did get a comment several times from people like, oh, have you closed your channel down? Have you stopped making videos? I was like, no, I uploaded another one last week. And they'd be like, oh, right, that's because YouTube's just stopped putting them in my, watch this video next list. And the point there is do not rely on the algorithm to do it. I've noticed that with YouTube over the years, that unless you are actively subscribed and you've dung the bell for videos that you want to see, like recommended to you by YouTube, just don't rely on being subscribed to a channel, because who knows how that algorithm works. But I had channels that I was sort of would watch every single video that they made, and yet for some reason the algorithm would decide that just stop putting them on my sort of main YouTube panel when I launch YouTube on my PC, and without dinging the bell, I wouldn't have seen them. So because I'm not entirely sure how regular the re-uploads will be, I've got it in my head that I'll try and do maybe one a week, something like that. But if you do want to see them and you do want to know when there's a new upload on the channel, I would do the subscribe and the ding the bell thing just to be sure that it recommends it to you. And even then, that it's not actually guaranteed. Sometimes the algorithm still decides to do its own thing. I'm under no illusions that this channel will be very, very small. I mean, the old channel wasn't exactly big. I know this one's going to be tiny. I know it's going to be super niche, which is exclusively Fruit Machine emulation stuff, the vast majority of which is going to be uploads from an old channel. So I've not got any kind of ideas about this channel taking off or getting to be a success or anything like that. I'm not bothered about that. I am purely, frankly, responding to the surprising number of people who have expressed to me publicly and privately that they missed the old channel and that they wish there was some way to be able to watch those old videos, and that's what this channel is going to be. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope that's covered it for you. I hope that you understand why the old channel went. If you don't, there's a thread over at Desert Island Fruits where I do go into it in not explicit detail, because that would kind of eliminate the point of deleting the old channel in the first place, but I do go broadly into some of the issues that it was causing me and some of the potential issues that it was causing me. So I'm very sorry about that, but for my own sanity and indeed on some level the well-being of myself and my family, I'm afraid it did have to go in the form it previously existed. But we should be able to make something new here out of the old content with just little tweaks and changes made where necessary. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch up with you next time. But for now it is goodbye.